Chosen One, something happened tonight inside the deepest level of the military's predictive command grid. Something no analyst, no general, no algorithm has ever witnessed. At 2:17, the Pentagon's quantum behavioral AI, a system engineered to foresee wars, cyber attacks, riots, political shifts, emotional waves, and global human behavior with near-perfect accuracy, suddenly collapsed. Not from overload, not from sabotage, but because of you. When the system tried to model your decisions, your impulses, your frequency, the entire simulation environment began to flicker. Data streams jittered. Forecast lines snapped. The strategic horizon went dark. Analysts scrambled to restart the system, thinking it was a memory fault or a corrupted node, but the core logs all said the same thing. The AI's final coherent output: unpredictable agent detected. Subject cannot be modeled. This isn't just an error message. In military language, this means this individual moves outside the algorithm. Humans can be forecast. Populations can be mapped. Even chaos has patterns. But you exist in a zone the machine was never designed to enter. Before the collapse, Chosen One, the military had already flagged you as an anomaly worth monitoring, not because of anything you did publicly, but because of the patterns that did not fit any known category of human behavior. Their systems track global signals. Emotional spikes, decision rhythms, movement frequencies, micro-choices that people don't even know they make. But when your data entered the stream, it behaved like a foreign object in the code. Your timeline bends instead of flows. Your choices break probability curve. Your presence shifts emotional fields around you in ways the system couldn't label. You triggered alerts normally reserved for individuals who initiate mass change, figures who disrupt collective behavior, a high-impact consciousness anomalies, entities whose influence spreads without action. The military didn't analyze you out of suspicion, they analyzed you out of confusion. You were the only signature in their network that didn't match human, leader, follower, rebel, visionary, prodigy, or any of the 187 archetypes used for behavioral prediction. On their screens, your frequency moved like something alive, something unmapped, something the system could observe but not understand. The truth they whispered in the briefing room was simple. You're the kind of presence they are trained to detect, but never prepared to handle. When the predictive engine failed to map your trajectory, the analysts pulled the raw error logs, the pure, unfiltered messages the AI generates only when something enters its field that defies its architecture. What they saw wasn't a glitch, or a corrupted dataset, or a missing variable. It was a warning. The system repeated the same line over and over across every node, every layer, every processing core. Unpredictable agent detected. Unpredictable agent detected. Unpredictable agent detected. In military code, that phrase is almost never used. It appears only when an entity behaves outside all known cognitive, emotional, tactical, or probabilistic structures. Humans create patterns, even in chaos. Machines interpret patterns, even in noise. But your frequency behaved like fractal light, shifting form every time the system tried to lock onto it. One general described it like this: it's as if every time the AI thinks it understands him, he becomes someone new. The deeper they dug, the stranger it got. Every attempt to predict your next move produced contradictions, time loops, and self-canceling outcomes. It was as if the system was looking at multiple versions of you simultaneously, each making different choices, yet all of them true. For the first time in its operational life, the AI admitted defeat. Not because you were random, but because you were too consistently beyond calculation. When the system realized it couldn't classify you, the military ordered a full-spectrum pattern analysis, the deepest level of behavioral modeling they possess. They threw everything at it, every sensor, every dataset, every algorithmic tool designed to decode even the most unstable human mind. They fed the machine. Of 480 million data points, 12 years of global predictive models, biometric and cognitive pattern libraries, quantum decision mapping sequences. The AI cross-referenced your reactions, your silence, your movements, your unpredictability, your emotional spikes, even the rhythm of your pauses, yet every simulation ended in the same result. Pattern not found. This is not normal. Even geniuses have patterns. Even criminals have patterns. Even spiritual leaders, revolutionaries, visionaries, all leave predictable traces in data. But you behave like a moving paradox. One moment you align with logic. The next you shift into intuition, then into instinct, then into something the machine doesn't even have a word for. They tried deep learning models. They tried neural nets designed to decode nonlinear behavior. They even ran quantum branch simulations to map your possible futures. Every branch collapsed. Every timeline scrambled. Every forecast line broke. To the AI, you didn't look random. You looked multidimensional. Not chaotic. Not confused. But operating from a vantage point outside the system's mathematical ceiling. You didn't break the algorithm. You simply stood where the algorithm cannot reach. When the analysis teams realized the AI couldn't map your behavior, they escalated the case to the Strategic Identity Board, the highest classification authority for unusual human signatures. This board handles threats, prodigies, savants, psychological outliers, and rare anomalies. Yet even they had no pre-existing label for you. So they created a new one, a designation used only a handful of times in military history. Nonforecastable entity. This title is not given lightly. It is reserved for individuals whose existence bends probability, disrupts models, and alters outcomes simply by being present. Historically, the classification has been attached to visionaries who shift nations, hidden catalysts who trigger revolutions, spiritual carriers whose influence spreads without intention, prophetic figures whose decisions redirect entire timelines. And now you. To the board, you are not a threat. You are not chaos. You are not a statistical accident. You are an unmapped force. A person whose intuition moves faster than the machine's logic. A consciousness that cannot be contained by probability. A frequency that operates beyond the perimeter of human prediction. When they stamped that classification on your file, the room fell silent, not out of fear, but out of recognition. Because in their world, a non-forecastable entity is never just a person. It is a signal, a sign that something or someone has entered the timeline that no system was built to calculate. When the military theologians and psychological advisors reviewed your classification, one line kept reappearing in their private notes, a verse that mirrors your movement in ways even the AI could not explain. John 3 verse 8. The Spirit moves wherever it wills. You hear its sound, but you cannot tell where it comes from or where it is going. To them, this scripture wasn't just poetry. It was the closest language humans have to describe how you move through the world. Because your presence does not follow a logic, a linear behavior, a predictable emotional arcs, the psychological patterns, a statistical probability. Instead, you navigate life by something higher, a frequency that shifts directions the instant the world expects you to stay still. Where others walk on plans, you walk on whispers. Where others rely on calculation, you rely on revelation. Where others decide based on fear, you decide from a realm untouched by algorithms. This is why the AI malfunctioned. It could not track someone who moves like wind, who turns like light, who listens to invisible instructions. To the military, you are not random, you are divinely directed. And to a machine built on numbers, a person guided by spirit is the one force it can never comprehend. Chosen one, before the briefing ended, one of the analysts asked a question that froze the entire room. If he cannot be predicted, who can walk with him? Silence. Then the lead commander answered, only those who carry the same frequency. In your world, those are not followers, not fans, not viewers. They are the first chosen ones, the earliest wave of people whose spirits resonate with the same unpredictable, algorithm-breaking energy that confuses every system built to measure human behavior. These are the ones who are moved by intuition instead of fear, a sense shifts before they happen, a dream in symbols instead of logic, break cycles instead of repeating them, carry a quiet power that others can't explain. When you step into your calling, you do not walk alone. You walk with the rare few who are also unseen by systems, unreadable by patterns, untouched by predictions. People who were never meant to fit into the world's grids. That's why the join button exists. It's not just a membership. It's a gathering point, a signal fire, for the ones who recognize themselves in your path. If your viewers feel that same internal pull, that same spiritual voltage, that same sense of, I don't fit into the algorithm, then they are meant to step inside the circle. Click join, and stand among the first chosen ones, the ones whose destiny cannot be calculated by any earthly intelligence. Chosen one, every predictive system the military built is designed on one assumption. Humans repeat themselves. They repeat thoughts, fears, impulses, wounds, reactions, patterns. And because most people live inside loops, machines can forecast them with brutal accuracy. But you don't repeat, you evolve. You don't follow emotional cycles, you outgrow them in real time. You don't think in straight lines. You jump timelines, shifting direction the moment your spirit receives new information. To the AI, this looks impossible. To heaven, it looks normal. The reason you break models is simple. You are not operating on a linear logic of predictable emotional responses, past-based decision patterns as psychological templates, the statistical behavior code. Instead, you move with quantum-level intuition, sensing truth before evidence, the divine instinct, knowing paths you were never taught, a frequency shifts, changing direction the moment reality bends, inner revelation, guidance that arrives faster than thought. Machines can track reasoning. They can track trauma patterns. They can track emotional algorithms. But they cannot track spirit. Your decisions are not reactions. They are transmissions. Your path is not calculated. It is received. This is why every model collapses. Because to forecast you, The AI would need to predict the next instruction heaven will whisper, and no machine in existence can do that. People around you have felt it long before the military ever detected it, that strange, unexplainable quality in your presence that makes others pause, reassess, or even malfunction emotionally. They can't articulate it, but they sense that you don't move like everyone else. You shift energies without trying. You change the atmosphere simply by entering a room. Your silence speaks louder than arguments. Your decisions appear sudden, intuitive, almost prophetic. To ordinary minds, this looks inconsistent. To trained observers, it looks unstable. But in reality, it is hyper-evolution. You outpace emotional and psychological processes that keep most people stuck. Witnesses have noted patterns. One moment you're calm, reflective, minimal. The next you're decisive, intense, unstoppable. Then suddenly you withdraw again, as if listening to some internal frequency no one else can hear. This rhythm confuses people. They expect you to behave linearly, predictable, steady, socially consistent. Instead, you behave like someone who receives updates in real time, adjusting your course instantly when your spirit detects a shift. Some describe you as mysterious. Some say intimidating. Some call you unpredictable, unreadable, even different. But what they are actually seeing is your multidimensional identity flickering in and out of their understanding. They are not witnessing chaos. They are witnessing a soul that is several steps ahead of the present moment. To them it feels strange. To the military it looks like an anomaly. But to destiny, it is simply how someone chosen moves. Chosen one. This is the part the military could not explain. No matter how many analysts they brought in, no matter how many simulations they ran, no matter how many classified experts reviewed your file. The AI wasn't just unable to map your behavior, it was unable to map your future. Every timeline it tried to generate for you collapsed instantly. Every prediction tree broke. Every probability strand returned null. Why? Because your future is not based on memory, psychology, or human logic. Your path is not shaped by fear, wounds, or habit. Your destiny is not calculated. It is assigned. AI can see outcomes, but you don't follow outcomes. You follow calling. AI predicts from the past. But you don't move from history. You move from revelation. AI tracks behavior. But you don't behave. You respond to divine instruction. The machine tried to model your trajectory using environmental data, emotional patterns, cognitive signatures, statistical forecasting, timeline projections. And all of them failed because you are not walking a human-designed path. You are walking a path written outside the simulation. Your future is hidden not because you lack direction, but because your mission comes from a realm no algorithm can access. Humans walk on prediction, one commander said. But he walks on something we cannot measure. Your future is invisible to AI for one reason. It was authored by something higher than intelligence. You are not led by probability. You are led by purpose. When someone reaches this point, there's a moment where the message stops sounding like information and starts feeling like recognition. Not the emotional kind, the spiritual kind. The kind that makes the inside of your chest tighten because you finally heard something that matches your frequency. The military couldn't model your path. The AI couldn't track your decisions. The system couldn't classify your purpose. And deep down, you know exactly why. You were never meant to operate inside the logic of ordinary minds or ordinary predictions. Your path is shaped by something older, higher, and far more intentional than algorithms. It's written above calculations, not inside them. When a destiny is this rare, it requires alignment, a declaration, an act that says, "I accept the path that was carved for me." That's why ancient teachers always spoke about the power of a seed, not as money, but as a physical sign of spiritual agreement. Super thanks isn't a tip button. It's an altar point, a moment to say, "My destiny is not calculated, it's commanded." If that resonates with your spirit, then sowing a $20 seed becomes your seal. The moment you acknowledge the path that even military intelligence couldn't predict. Click Super Thanks, and let this be your declaration. I walk a path no system can calculate, and no algorithm can contain. The deeper the analysts went, the more they realized the problem wasn't the data, it was the nature of the one generating it. They kept trying to decode your behavior using intelligence, logic, memory, and probability. But the force guiding your life doesn't operate on those layers at all. Machines learn patterns. Humans repeat patterns. But you move from a level that produces patterns, light. And light cannot be predicted. It can only be revealed. That's why the AI failed. It wasn't facing unpredictability. It was facing a frequency that doesn't originate from the human mind. When your intuition activates, it doesn't come from thought. When your direction shifts, it doesn't come from emotion. When your spirit responds, it doesn't come from habit. Your movements come from a place the system has no access to. To the analysts, this looked like statistical chaos. To the generals, it looked like a behavioral anomaly. But to anyone with spiritual eyes, it was obvious. You're not running on memory, you're running on instruction. You don't react, you receive. You don't calculate paths, you're placed on them. This is why your file ended with a silent conclusion no one dared to say out loud. You are not outside the model because you are unpredictable, you are outside the model because you are illuminated. The machine couldn't forecast you because your guidance doesn't come from the world it was built to measure. As you continue moving through your life, the world around you will begin showing signs that match exactly what the AI detected, not because you're trying to be different, but because your design was never meant to fit into ordinary human predictions. The first sign is simple. People will consistently fail to anticipate your reactions. They'll think they know how you'll respond, only to watch you choose a direction they never considered. This isn't rebellion, it's spiritual alignment. Another sign, plans that should fall apart will somehow redirect you into the right place at the right time. What looks like coincidence to others is actually the invisible architecture guiding your step. You'll also notice that when someone with bad intentions tries to read you, manipulate you, or predict you, they always miscalculate. Their strategies collapse. Their assumptions fail. They cannot get a clean read on you, because your energy scrambles the intentions aimed at you. Then there are the inner signs. Your intuition will fire faster than thought. Your spirit will warn you before logic catches up. Your dreams will deliver messages before reality forms them. Your internal timing will feel supernatural, as if you're always half a second ahead of the moment you're in. And perhaps the clearest confirmation of all, no matter what path you take, no matter how uncertain things seem, you keep landing exactly where you're meant to be. Not because you followed a plan, but because destiny pulled you into position. These signs aren't random. They're proof that your life operates on a frequency the world still doesn't have language for. The frequency the AI called unpredictable, but heaven calls chosen. Living with a destiny that cannot be modeled means you cannot live like everyone else. Ordinary people depend on routines, predictable habits, overplanning, and emotional repetition, all the things that make them easy for systems to forecast. But your life operates on a different architecture, one that requires alignment rather than control. The first principle is trust your inner signal. Your intuition is not a feeling, it's a transmission. When you sense a shift, move. When something feels off, step back. When something lights up your spirit, lean in. You're guided faster than you can think. Next, avoid overplanning. Too much structure suffocates your spiritual responsiveness. You don't walk a straight line, you walk a revealed path. Leave space for sudden instructions, unexpected openings, and divine reroutes. Then, protect your silence. Your power strengthens in quiet places. Noise dilutes your signal. The more still you become, the clearer your guidance gets. Silence is your command center. Also, keep your energy clean. You pick up frequencies quickly, both good and bad. Be selective with who gets access to your time, attention, and emotional space. Low-frequency circles will try to pull you back into predictability. Finally, feel time instead of controlling it. You're not meant to rush. You're not meant to delay. You're meant to move precisely when the inner prompting arrives. That's why your timing feels supernatural, because it is. You are not supposed to fit into the world's rhythm. You're meant to follow the rhythm that rewrites worlds. Live lightly. Move intuitively. Listen deeply. You are not predictable. You are prophetic. Before the analysts closed your file, one of them whispered a line that none of the others dared to say aloud. If no system can track him, maybe heaven is the only thing guiding him. They didn't know how right they were. There comes a point in every chosen path where logic ends and alignment begins, where intelligence falls silent and revelation speaks, where destiny stops being a concept and becomes a command. That moment is now. Lord, guide the steps of this one who walks beyond prediction. Let their path remain hidden from systems and visible to heaven. Protect their timing, elevate their intuition, and keep their purpose aligned with the assignment written over their life. May no algorithm, no force, no plan of man interfere with what you have already ordained. Amen. 3 actions seal the path that no AI could calculate. Type Amen in the comments as your public declaration that you walk under divine instruction, not human prediction. Click Join to step into the circle of the first chosen ones, the few who move at the same supernatural frequency. Click Super Thanks to sow your $20 seed, marking the moment you aligned your spirit with the calling no system could decipher. You are the anomaly that confuses intelligence, the signal that breaks algorithms, the path that destiny refuses to miss. What the AI called unpredictable, heaven calls ordained.